Hello everyone. I may well be somewhat over-optimistic, overconfident even, reckoning this will be part of a series of videos. But what the heck, it is a series that I am calling Slow History. This is part 2, and it's about European medieval rhetoric and/or oratory. And it's for Historathon 2024 Q2. So, what is rhetoric? It might be the kind of thing you have heard of throughout your life from time to time, and is probably something to do with speech, language, or communication, probably. And you'd be about right. Rhetoric might have slightly different meanings, however. By definition, it is flattery, display, sophistry, captious reasoning, deception, empty verbiage, and demagoguery, according to one source. For Plato, it was the art of leading souls to true knowledge by means of dialogue and dialectic. For Aristotle, discovering the means of persuasion on any subject. For Augustine, it was discovering and communicating the truths of Scripture. And for Francis Bacon, applying reason and imagination to move the will. My ordinary household dictionary, a truly mauled Chambers version from 1996. There that is, for you avid book collectors out there. What a piece. Yeah, I'm actually very fond of this, and even though it it starts with the word angle, I promise you, and ends with utopia. Yeah. But its entry for rhetoric falls on the side of persuasion, influence, insincerity, and meaninglessness. Rhetoric is, of course, noticeable in history, in Greek and Roman education, most obviously. So, is rhetoric, therefore, a social construct? Is semiotics really a branch of idiotics? In Saussure's concept, language is ultimately not a function of reality. So really, who cares? Do we not realise when we are being inculcated into a cult, at least into cult-like thinking, to grasp the concept of unlearning all that we know? Is it the beginning of the end, or is it perhaps just the end of the beginning for the student, or even the student body? No. That aside, rhetoric is not grammar, or Grammarly even. Overall, things were perhaps much simpler for people in the Middle Ages than they are today. Those who had access to the writings of Cicero in the Middle Ages may have been of a mind to make use of his writings rather than having the luxury of knowing of them. Instruction manuals, however, began to appear in the late 12th century that aimed to provide for emerging niche markets with an updated contemporary point of view. Some were, however, letter-writing manuals for the office worker of the day, in the 13th century at least. And that involved such things as forms of greeting, certain ways of sending requests, and introducing subject matter in an effective way. There was a work published on the art of preaching, surprise, surprise, that appeared in 1340, written by Allen of Lille. And via northern Italy, and specifically the University of Bologna, further works were published in a pre-printing age about speech-making and debate. So, there is nature, discourse, and life and customs, or things natural, rational, and ethical. The end product of rhetorical studies in the Middle Ages was often heard in the courtroom. And I quote, "What is so royal, so noble, so magnificent as to be a help or to bring help to those imploring it and to protect innocence beset by the calumnies of informers?" Close quote. This is from a unique survival found in the old bibliothèque at Bruges in Belgium, of which a modern description runs as follows. There were 3 separate texts in the manuscript. They were clearly separate booklets and were probably obtained in Paris during the monks' university studies. On the monks' return to the abbey, they had their booklets bound into a collected volume for ease of storage and possibly reference. It has been suggested in this century that we might, and I think it is a might, have lost something that medieval communicators carefully adhered to. But then again, the authorities in Paris during the 13th century did ban Aristotle. Well, at least for a while. Well, that's it for that one. So, bye for now.
Open your arms to receive the soul of one who lived and died, the purest knight of all.